Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Irene. Irene, you said you're struggling to put things on lockdown, gang. I'm wondering why. Hello, Anna. Hello, Celia. Hello, Judith. Oh, paint. Just washed my hands, got all the paint off. Nearly. Hello, Jules. How are you? Hello, Maria. Not such lovely weather. Still, we notice that there's it improves at about 3 o'clock and becomes sunshine and showers. No, sunshine and clouds. So I think I'm going to use that opportunity to go and have a swim in the river. Hello, Fiona. Hello, Margaret. Hello, Heather. Hello, Mel. Hello, Annaline. Hi, Wendy. Wendy, I'm glad you're watching because this is for you. Those moles. What did you think about the moles? I have had a vegetable garden ever since I was about 8. Hello, Carol. As usual, we're watching and half listening as either cooking or eating. You should give up cooking. Anyway, yeah, I've had a vegetable garden since I was little, and we have been plagued with moles here over the years. And I've quite often set traps, but you know, setting traps for moles is quite unrewarding. You don't often catch them, and you get sort of grubby, and you have to sort of crawl around on the ground. We've got heaps of mole traps. Thank you, Mel. Morning, Barbara. Morning, Meru. So we were sitting, Fifey and I, in the front porch, having a cup of tea in the afternoon, and just when you come here, you see like the house is set on a hillside, and then on the south side of the house, which is that way, there's like a conservatory. It's not really very big. Hello, Jean. So glad you like the moles. Anyway, so we're sitting there having a cup of tea, and we've got these ducks, and you know I've mentioned that we've got a sort of, it's not a killer duck, but he's more of an attack duck. And whatever you're doing in the garden, as I say, you suddenly hear this sort of thump, 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 and you turn round. Isabel, hello. Hello, Anne. And this white duck is just like thundering towards you in a really, really aggressive fashion. And anyway, he's walking up and down. As I mentioned before, the vegetable garden has got railings all around. It's all protected, and it's got rabbit traps in every corner. Because we're sick to death of growing vegetables just for rabbits to eat, and we're sick to death of keeping poultry just for the foxes to come and snack on. I mean, life is just so depressing. You know, trying to be a gardener here is just a waste of time. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and I said, "Look at that duck," and the killer duck, sorry, the attack duck, is going up and down the left-hand side of the railings. And we watched it for ages and ages. He said, "I wonder if there's something in there." And I looked, and no, there isn't. And I went down, and I walked quite closely after Attack Duck had wandered off to do some. There's a lot of that going on at the moment. Anyway, and I looked, I couldn't see anything. Anyway, I'm just standing, just looking really, really carefully, and I saw the earth moving. Get my camera, quick, get my phone. So, the sausage dogs, no, they're useless. Sausage dogs are no good at killing anything unless it's almost dead or very, very small and defenceless. We often get mice in the dog food bin, and I practically dangle it in front of them, and they usually get away, and that was with 4 sausage dogs. Anyway, so going back to the moles, yeah, I saw the earth move, and Fifey wanders off. You know, he has absolutely no sense of urgency, but he got my phone, and I went, right, and I thought, I can't believe this is actually happening. You know, normally a wonder of wildlife something spectacular in nature happens and my phone just runs out of battery, or Fifey can't be bothered. A lot of what's going on, I missed the mime. The mime? Oh, I think you know. Anyway, so I got it all. I've got lots of videos, and the one I put on Facebook's the best because you've got them both, and then they both come together and they just go away. They're quite young. They would only be maybe that long. Maybe like 12 centimetres, 15 centimetres, and the adults, when you get a big one, can be like that long. We think they're probably both from the same litter. Don't actually know very much about mole reproduction and how they raise their young. Anyway, we got them and put them in a bucket. Neither of us could bring ourselves to kill them, and we took them like halfway down the track to where Fifey put loads and loads and loads of bark, and it's rotted down, so I think they'll be fine. Anyway, I'm glad you liked that. Sarah, you're late. I'm not going to repeat the whole mole story again. For now, size isn't everything. Oh, but it is, Marianne. Ducks like making rabbits. Anyway, so today I feel that we have romped ahead, and I've maybe become a bit casual and just made assumptions of levels of expertise. Now, we have several viewers in the Lockdown Gang who are way up there in the expertise, so you're just going to have to either yawn or go and do something else. But we have some... Enrique! I'll never, ever, ever, ever forget. Enrique, can I tell them the story? When Enrique emigrated to Australia, this is Enrique Azacar, who is a friend of mine, who's an artist, and he's marvellous. He's one of the nicest people. He's certainly one of the nicest artists I know. And he was having a leaving party, and so all of his artist friends, women, were queuing up to kiss him goodbye, and some of them were kissing him goodbye and then going to the back of the queue again. And anyway, at this lovely do, one of these lady artists, who is not very tactful, opened her mouth and said something before remembering that Enrique, who has many marvellous, wonderful attributes, but size is not one of them, I hope you don't mind. Enrique is a diminutive fellow. He's probably maybe about the same height as me or shorter. Anyway, she said something about size, and she said, oh, but not, and Enrique's standing here, and she said, oh, but size isn't everything. She didn't need to say that. And Enrique put his hand on her arm, and he went, oh, but it is. Anyway, so today, now then, Wendy Rowell, who is one of you, and I would say maybe has done more medical stuff in her life than painting stuff. So she has bought a set of the lovely Ludlow paints, and she sent me a message saying she's run out. Well, I would not run out of these in about a year. So I think she's just literally digging a brush in and sploshing it all on the paint. So I sent her a message and I said, thank you, Anne. I thought it was a brilliant story, and I don't even think you need to know the lovely Enrique, but he's got this amazing Chilean accent that just sort of makes everybody melt. And when he went, oh, but it is, it was good. Anyway, so going back to Wendy, she's got the set, and she's obviously abusing the paint. So I said, I thought today was the day off. I'll have to go back and see the beginning. I did put a post up, Beth. Tomorrow's a day off. Do you know where I'm going tomorrow? I'll give you a clue. Anybody guessed? Specsavers. Right. Because these are my mid-distance one. The close work ones are the ones that the arm snapped off fairly early on in lockdown. Right, so I'm going to tip you up and to talk you through how I would use my paints, and I'll try and see what you're saying as well. Right, so I'm going to open these all up. because Wendy has been abusing her paints, and I suspect that if she has, some of you have as well. And these should last for ages and ages and ages, because they are nearly all pigment. And you know, if they get dry, it doesn't matter. You put a drop of water in, put the lid back on, and it goes soft again. You've just finished grouting. I'm going to Barnard Castle. Right, I hope this is going to work. I mentioned to you, I should have had some clean water. Just give me 1 second. Just got to get some clean water. I've been painting, you see, I've got loads of paintings on the go. Right. So I've got some clean water here. I hope you're watching Rowler. Rowler, that's very funny. Wendy, she is. Right, so you've got your little paints here. And I mentioned that I use a knife to like dig the paint out of my pots. Well, whoops. Mine are bigger. And they've got stacks more in. So I'll scoop them out and I put them into my palette. So there's a chunk of yellow and there's a chunk of one of my greens. But that is quite a lot of blue, so I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to use something else. I'm just going to use the end of this spoon. So I'm going to put a bit of everything in here. And I'll start sensibly by getting the yellow, and that will last for ages and ages and ages. Now then, I will not waste, I won't waste that paint because there's a hell of a lot of pigment on there. And as I said, it doesn't matter if it gets wet because it doesn't matter. So I'm going to get rid of I'm not going to waste any of this lovely, lovely yellow pigment because look, there's masses of it. Right. So that's yellow, and even then I don't like wasting any of that. Then the next one, I think I'll go red next, purely for the contamination thing. Right? Oh. And then I'll do the same thing so these become my little reservoirs of colour. Now, I have to say, I've got stacks and stacks of porcelain palettes, and I've got these ones, which I've showed you before, that great big, how do I describe them? Big sort of slabs of Winsor & Newton watercolour come in, and when they're used up, which doesn't happen very often, I keep the thing, and that is my blue. So I maybe don't need to demonstrate the blue. But this is as good as anything. And as I say, the water will evaporate, and you'll have a nice hard lot of red paint there. Now I'm about to paint, I've got another Oriental Poppies painting on the go, so what I'm going to do is I'll use this, I'm putting it into another, sorry, I'm just going to tip you a tiny little bit more so that you can see everything. I'm just going to put the rest of the paint there because you do not want to waste any of this lovely, lovely pigment. I don't. Okay. And again, just to demonstrate how much pigment there is. I mean, look at that intense colour. Loads and loads and loads of it. Don't waste. Wendy, I hope you're watching. I use a really small screwdriver. Celia, you are very good at solving problems. Okay. Makes me weep to wash it off. And then I'll go to the next. Oh, I don't know whether to go green or... Shall I try this? It looks a bit firm. Makes sense to put it next to the red, then if there's any contamination, it won't matter. Do you know, if I'd thought I'd have had the yellow somewhere completely separate, because I've already sploshed onto it. Right. And I'll do the same thing. Yeah, you see, Celia has worked it out. There are, I think on the little leaflet, it gives you some instructions and you just adapt them for what works best for you. You might have like a separate little place for each colour. Like my little porcelain trough thingies. I'm going to put the rest of that in there. There's a lot of paint on that spoon that I mustn't waste. And I'll use these colours in my Oriental Poppy painting. You know that great big painting I did with all the different wild flowers on? Do you remember? Sold it. That's nice. It's very exciting. And I've got someone interested in one of the poppy ones I did. And one of the sheep ones. Can't believe it. It's great. Okay, so we've got 3. I hope this isn't too boring for you. I'm not going to do blue because I've already got some here. These are massive big chunks of colour. Now then, Andrew Ludlow, who makes the colour, he's made this sap green, which is traditionally not something I think that I don't know, some watercolour people would use, but I do use it. I use it a lot, and I mix it with warmer colours to get to get my greens. See, look there, loads and loads of lovely green on there, which mixed with a bit of something off my board here to get quite a natural green there. He did the same with the Payne's Grey, because Payne's Grey is I think that's a mix. Shall I? Do you know what? I won't bother with that because I've got a Payne's Grey here, and what I'm going to do now is put the lids back on before I forget, and before they go rock hard. But if they go rock hard, it doesn't matter. I use a mini mister spray. It's good that everyone's got different solutions. But yeah, do not worry if it goes rock hard. Meru's watching. Meru is one half of AJ Ludlow Colour and should probably be wincing at what I'm doing. This is probably not what they intended me to do. Right. Oops, oops, oops. So we put them there, precious pigment, put that away, and we've got our colour ready here. Now then, I know I've mentioned before, and I'm going to show you again, how I tend to have on my board, I've deliberately got a clean white piece of something here. I used to use a tray. I used to have an old melamine tray. Hello, Jane. Jane's hoping I won't be doing any big paintings because she has to scan them. When will the print of Spring Flowers be ready? It's been scanned. Andrew's watching as well. Sap green is a green pigment that was traditionally made of ripe buckthorn berries. Thank you, Enrique Azacar. Now, Enrique, the man who actually made the paint, who has worked in the industry for 30 plus years, is also listening. If you knew you were going to do a big wash of bluey green, would you clean the end? These questions are great. I'm really, really keen on questions. So Beth from America says, if you knew you were going to be doing a big wash of bluey green, would you clean the end of the spoon off in a cup of water, combining the colours you want? Then you could paint the wash with too many words. I'll show you what I do. Okay. So let's just say I was going to do another one of those Oriental Poppies paintings, and it makes sense to have it in miniature here. So I would start by doing a couple of things in the foreground. So I've got my green, and I do it on here. I literally touch the red from the edge. Oh, sorry, you can't see. I'm just sort of touching a little bit of red, and then I know I shouldn't, but and I've got my yellow that I already had here. I need a little bit more warm, so I'm pinching a bit. I'm just pinching a bit off my drawing board here. Quite like some more yellow. And I'm doing like a little miniature painting. So these are like the Oriental poppy buds. Just get another little, get some of my blue. And I'm just working really, really small so that you can see all of what I'm doing. And then, oops, do some more yellow. And I'm using this board to get my colours, and often pinching it from the sides. Ludlow has lovely stacking ones. I saw that. Sorry, can you see? And I'm just using tiny little bits of paint that might be lying around. I don't know whether you saw just like a little bit from here, and then try not to contaminate these pure splodges of colour, but they will go dry, and if you do get a mess in them, you can always sort of wash the mess off and leave the dry bits behind. Just need a tiny bit more something red just to create some warmth. please ask questions. When you put, I'm going to ask, when you put too much paint on the paper, is there a way to lift it off? Beth Munnings-Winter says butcher trays are good too. Well, anything that's quite white and is like melamine or plastic, brilliant. Like the whiter, the better. Right, to take paint off. Okay, so let's say I've got far too much green on there. I could empty my brush by like pressing it on something and then lift it off using the brush and put it somewhere else. I don't know whether that's what you mean, but brushes are the best things to lift it off. Oh, I didn't show you what did I? I'm sorry. Yeah, so put it on and then use the brush to sort of lift it off with. That's sort of what I do. And I've got some poppies in front of me here, which I just dashed out to the garden to get, just to remind me of the leaf shapes and everything. Okay, so it's like a star. Oh, we need a... So I just need to get a model here to use. Oh, actually, I'll just... Which brush? Which is my newest brush. It's got tape on the end. We know that because Jules got me the tape. These are my new brushes. This is the one I'm looking for. So now I'm going to make, when you put too much, thank you, oh God, I'm hot now. I had to light a fire. I keep a crystal clear cup of water beside me and use a clean brush. Beth's got some very good ideas. She's obviously a cleaner, tidier person than I am. I keep a crystal clear cup of water. I do not keep a crystal clear cup of water beside me. Maybe I should. I'm just admiring those elegant sense. Enrique, honestly, you crack me up. I wish. There's nothing elegant about my wrists. I think you must be getting desperate, Enrique. He's hilarious. Right. He's just picking up tips, you know. Okay, so I'm going to make myself some lovely poppy red. And oops, sorry. I'm really going, can you see? Yeah, I'm going straight, oh no. Oh, a bit of tissue. I've got a bit of green going into my poppy red, which I do not want. Also, I need a scrap of paper. And I'm going to lift some of that out as well. And just keep, oh, that's pretty nice, isn't it? That's nice. Do you know what? That, oops! I'm supposed to be painting from this one here. And you've probably noticed I'm not mixing very many colours together. It's like the less colours, the less there is to go wrong. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry you can't see the model as well as the painting, but I'm hoping it's coming sort of clear to you. So Wendy, I think maybe you just need to be a little bit less heavy-handed with scooping the paint out. I've got a horrible feeling that you've been using it neat out of the tubs if you've used it all up, unless you were just joking and you were just trying to alarm me, which isn't that hard to do. Yeah, so tomorrow I have got an appointment for Specsavers. Who'd have thought it? And it was great. Somebody said Specsavers online, Specsavers no problem. And I thought, okay. So I went to the website and I made an appointment online. And then a little bit later, a nice Irish sounding lady rang me up and asked me questions, which I answered. And to save time, when I turn up, and you turn up exactly at the right time, not early, otherwise you might have to stand outside in the rain. And she's already got all the information she needs. Turns out the last time I had a sight test was spring 2018, so that's not so unusual. I was a little bit anxious about things, but everybody reckons that when you get to this magnificent age, your eyesight does change quite a lot. I know I've said it before, sorry. So yeah, I know you've seen poppy painting before. It's just dreadfully boring and repetitive. Right. Have you got any more questions about how to use the paint? Let me have a look at your questions. William's watching. Hello. I always underestimate how much paint I need, and I need a massive mixing space. Now I've got a giant brush. Yeah, the giant brushes, you do need. You see, I use this a lot, which is big, and I have another one here, which is big, and that's got a little dollop of yellow there as well. And they are obviously ideal for using with the very big brushes. That one's been sat in water, which I don't recommend. I was shown how to stand a jar of clean water inside my plastic box of water. It takes less space. Heather, maybe you should do you know what would be good? For you to put your painting solutions, take a photograph and just stick it on the lockdown gang, because everybody does things differently. And just because I do it this way doesn't make it right. They're not elegant wrists. My mother said my hands were like bunches of bananas and I'd never do anything with them. So I quite like to stick my middle finger up at her and show just how flexible they are. My mother the other day, she said something quite funny and I wrote it down. I said, you do provide me with an endless source of terrible stories. How often do I change water? Very, very rarely, Wendy. But look, I have three pint things. So I do it. It's not boring. I'm trying to work out how much pigment I need to get the depth of colour you used. I suspect that I use more pigment than most people. I really do. My mother said I had the complexion of cold porridge. I wonder if your mother went to the same school of charm as my mother, the same school of how to bring your children up with loads and loads of issues. She also introduced me to a doctor who specialised in child obesity, And the thing is, I've looked at the photographs and I wasn't obese, I wasn't even plump. How do you make shadow colours? My mother said I had hair like rat's tails. 3-pint things. See how they run. Yes. All this chatting and no painting. The complexion of cold porridge. What an evil witch. No offence. Well, actually, yes, offence. Offence is intended. Mothers who say dreadful things. Mind you, I've said some terrible things to my daughters, I'm sure. But then I was sort of, I think I managed to have them at the time where you build your children up rather than knocking them down. At least I tried to. But I'm sure I did loads and loads of things wrong. What was it she said? Oh yeah, my mum, she was quite funny because she, you know how she has tennis coaching and she had it on a Friday. She was it Thursday or Friday? She was furious because, you know, there were gales. I'll just turn this around so I can get another angle to use. Oh, can you hear that sound? Yeah, I went, oh, right. She said, yes, it was the effing wind. And the balls were going all over the place. And so her coach said maybe they could continue next week. And she said that, yes, that's a good idea. And then she explained that she had been swearing like a trooper and that probably her instructor thought she had Tourette's. And she said, yeah, she was running around the court, in her words, whoops, shouting obscenities. So it was probably best that they did postpone the coaching session. All right, so what's that there? And then we've got I managed to catch Jimmy from next door and explain that I had a bone to pick. Like I mentioned the other day, they've let all the cattle out. You can't see them here because they roam in between the 3 fields. And I did say that it was particularly selfish of them and self-centred not to split the colours up. They're all black. I thought, well, could you not just like put half the black ones in with the brown ones and have some brown ones in here as well? Because it's just, you know, what am I supposed to paint? I don't want to paint a sea of black cattle, thank you very much. They don't really consider my needs at all. Right, so I'm just mentally trying to think. So the middle of the flowers here, and then there's a sort of, yes. Yeah, I try and mix up quite a lot of what I need to start, you know, before I've even got going, because the chances are there might not be enough paint. I could do a self-portrait. I'd struggle to know exactly where to start searching for that cold porridge colour. We could start a sort of lockdown gang self-help group, couldn't we? People who were traumatised by their mothers and succeeded despite the adversity. She denies the banana finger things. She just completely denies it. She only remembers things she chooses to remember. So I'm just kind of working my way around neatly avoiding things that are in the foreground. Yeah, good. So painting, in my like the way I do it, I'd rather not do layers and layers and layers of what do you call them, wishy-washy washes. I'd rather sort of get as much intensity straight away as I can, as I dare. Okay, I'm just going to get a little bit more of that. Shouldn't really put the same brush in them both, but never mind. So there's two little, teeny little oriental poppies. Size is another thing I quite like to work, if possible, certainly with flowers, at about the size that they are, or as one of my printers used to say, size for size. So that if it was printed, sometimes I've had fine art printers who said, you know, what size do you want it? And it's like, what do you mean? I want it exactly the same size as it's painted, so that then it is a absolutely true representation of the painting. And I've had some people say, oh, do you do that print in a bigger size or a smaller size? And I'm slightly baffled because I think, well, there's only one size and you know, that's the size it was painted. But that's just me. You just let me ramble on and on. It's all that size. This is Numpty's day. Size matters. Size does matter. What about when you paint giraffes and elephants? Oh, ha 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 ha. I think I did have a caveat, which was flowers. Yeah, obviously not big things like that. Maria, I don't think you were included in this group, part of the club when I got sent a couple of gifts. I don't think Jenny watches anymore. She's obviously got bigger fish to fry. She's not desperately bored and stuck indoors anymore. So anyway, look, I think that's quite enough painting for today. I tried to tell you. Right, definitely no live video tomorrow. I know it's mad, isn't it, Maria? Yeah, definitely no live video. So your homework, ladies and gentlemen, is to take photographs of how you work things out. I think there'll be some really good ideas there. Saddos, I don't think so. Right, I'm going to go now and have some packet asparagus soup, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll have a new eye test and they won't tell me something dreadful like that I've got, what's it called, glaucoma or cataracts or something, and just give me a better pair of glasses. And I think I'll be back on Tuesday. Have a lovely rest of the day. Melvin Stables, hello. Can't you take us with you to Specsavers? Yeah, that'd be really good fun. Have a live video from Specsavers. That'll be a no. Right, bye. You're welcome, Rose.